Hi, and welcome back to Extra Extra, your weekly LGBTQIA+ news roundup, in which I serve you all the tea so that you don't have to do the deep diving yourself. Although the title is a little bit of a lie this week, I'm not doing our usual weekly news roundup. I'm doing a best of 2023 roundup, and we'll be talking about all the good things that happened concerning the LGBTQ+ community this past year. In this video, we're gonna first look at queer rights around the world and all the positive change that's happened regarding legislation. And then we'll talk about all the ways that the LGBTQ+ community showed up for each other this year. Before we start off, I want to say thank you to all of you who commented on my previous video. A couple of you requested more positive news or a better balance between positive and negative, and I just want to say I hear you, so I'm reviewing my format and trying to find a way to maybe sprinkle in a little bit of joy throughout the video. I'm telling you now, there's lots of good things to celebrate, and I'm really excited to share them with you. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoy this content, I hope you subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it. The list of countries that still criminalize homosexuality has shrunk yet again this year. Starting with the Cook Islands, who decriminalized same-sex marriage earlier this year, following in the footsteps of other Caribbean nations who have decriminalized homosexuality over the last handful of years, such as Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Belize, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Trinidad and Tobago. Previously, same-sex activity was punishable by up to 10 years in prison on the Cook Islands, and this law in the Cook Islands and in all of the Caribbean nations, plus many more, is actually a remnant of the British colonial era. So thanks for that, Great Britain. And the second country that decriminalized homosexuality this past year is Mauritius, with the Supreme Court emphasizing their intention to further support the LGBTQ+ community legally in the coming years.
I did it.
Sri Lanka hasn't yet changed their laws, but has expressed the intention to decriminalize homosexuality as well, in which they would be following Singapore, their kind of neighbor across the Indian Ocean. Both of these nations also have these laws as remnants of the British colonial era. The United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or CEDAW, for short, has ruled that criminalizing same-sex activity between women is a human rights violation.
And you can't sit with us.
Because this is a convention for women's rights, their ruling is on homosexuality between women, but I think it's fair to say that they mean it as a blanket statement. This is the first UN case that focuses specifically on queer women. And the really great thing about this is that 165 out of the world's 193 countries has previously committed to abide by CEDAW's rulings. So I've done a little bit of digging and made my own Venn diagram between countries who are member states of CEDAW and countries who still criminalize same-sex activity between women. The overlap is 31 countries. So 31 of the 41 countries worldwide who still criminalize same-sex activity between women are CEDAW member states.
Oh.
I'll run them by here. So this ruling has the potential to not just be a hypothetical ruling that's written down somewhere, but to actually move many governments to implement change in their legislation, which would be great. There are still 65 countries worldwide that criminalize homosexuality. Only 41 of them explicitly name homosexuality between women. But with every country that takes itself off that list, and with every review of legislation, even if the focus at first is on women, there is the potential that they might extend that law change to homosexuality for all. So yeah, let's hope that this brings about a wave of change. 2 countries have legalized same-sex marriage this year. Both of them are European countries, namely Andorra and Estonia. Andorra's Prime Minister has also come out as gay this year. Good for him. And even though Andorra decided for marriage equality in 2022, the law only came into effect this year. And with Estonia, they have made the decision to legalize same-sex marriage, and the law will come into effect on the 1st of January 2024, which is the day that this video will go up. So happy Marriage Equality Day, Estonia! Estonia is also the first Baltic country to legalize same-sex marriage and the first ex-Soviet bloc country to introduce marriage equality.
She's European.
And Estonia today is becoming the 35th country in the world to have legalized queer marriage. I'm 100% sure that the queer community in Estonia is celebrating today. I hope you are. Any Estonians watching this, leave a comment. Let us share in your joy. I'm very happy for you.
I just have a lot of feelings.
South Korea also took major strides in supporting queer couples this year. Specifically, the Seoul High Court has ruled in the beginning of 2023 that not allowing queer couples the same rights when it comes to health insurance as heterosexual couples is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
A historic ruling because this was the first time a South Korean court recognized the rights of queer couples. And South Korean courts are currently considering legislation bills that would support both queer marriage and civil unions for both queer and heterosexual couples, granting queer couples all the same rights that heterosexual couples enjoy. Similarly, in Japan, 4 out of 5 district courts have ruled that Japan's ban on same-sex marriage is in violation of Japan's constitution.
Yeah.
Japan is currently the only G7 country that doesn't protect same-sex couples in the same way that it does heterosexual couples, even though public polls have shown a significant support for same-sex unions and marriage, with over 2/3 of the population being in favor of marriage equality. So there's definitely good reason to keep an eye on Japan and be hopeful that they will soon, if not in 2024, maybe in the years coming after that, introduce a marriage equality bill that protects queer couples in the same way that they do heterosexual couples. Taiwan has amended its Same-Sex Marriage Act to allow queer couples to adopt in the exact same way that straight couples are able to adopt. Previously, only one parent of a queer couple would be able to become a legal parent to an adopted child, and now queer couples have the exact same right, with both parents being legally recognized as the child's parent. Moving away from couples' rights and towards trans rights, 3 countries introduced self-identification for trans people this year. Those 3 countries are Finland, Germany, and Spain. And with those 3, there are now over 30 countries worldwide that have similar legislation on self-identification. All 3 countries have abolished the need for medical and/or psychological certification in order to change your gender marker on your passports and identification documents. In Finland, trans people now only undergo a 30-day reflection period, after which whatever gender they want on their documentation will be granted to them. Germany's proposed bill, which still needs parliamentary approval, so not quite finalized yet, will change the requirement of a diagnosis to needing only a registry office procedure, which is great. However, the German bureaucratic state has long waiting periods, and so that's a little bit of a question mark. But the step away from forcing trans people to undergo potentially harmful, traumatizing scrutiny from medical professionals who don't always have their best interest at heart is definitely a positive step. And Spain has not only introduced self-ID for trans people, it has also banned all conversion therapy in the same fell swoop. So big snaps for Spain for killing 2 birds with 1 stone in this one. Besides Spain, Belgium, Cyprus, and Iceland have also banned conversion therapy, both conversion therapy that aims at people's sexuality as well as conversion therapies aimed at curing people's gender dysphoria. So we love trans-inclusive conversion therapy bans. All 3 countries now prosecute anyone practicing conversion therapy with potential prison sentences, which hopefully might put some pressure on the UK government to finally ban conversion therapy as well. One can only hope. Hey, this is the halfway point of today's video, and I'm jumping in here to say that if you're enjoying this content, it would mean a lot to me if you gave this video a thumbs up and if you subscribe to my channel, and also that I'm on holiday next week, so there won't be a video for the first week of 2024, but I'll be back in week 2 with a bang, I promise. And finally, one more win for the trans community. The Hong Kong Court of Final Appeal has ruled that forcing transgender people to undergo sterilization procedures in order to be legally recognized as trans is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So Hong Kong will also be undergoing a review of their legislation on that matter and hopefully be changing it to much more trans-friendly laws. The FIFA Women's World Cup took place this past summer, and there are 3 things that I want to talk about that happened during that. First off, this picture of Spanish footballer Alba Redondo kissing her girlfriend pitchside went viral back in the summer, which is both heartwarming and a little bit shocking, because just the fact that a picture like that of just 2 people who are in a relationship making headlines like that because they're a queer couple, you know, you'd hope that homosexuality was more normalized by now. But on the other hand, the fact that so many people worldwide saw this picture just contributes to normalization, so that's a huge positive. Secondly, FIFA had its first trans non-binary player this past season, who was Canadian footballer Quinn. And FIFA banned pride flags on the armbands of footballers, deeming them distracting. I've said this in a previous video, sports events are always lined with ads from sponsors everywhere that are in bright colors around the entire pitch. How those are meant to be less distracting than a rainbow armband, I'm not sure. However, the positive thing I'm reporting on is that the women collectively came up with creative ways to bypass that ruling and show their support for the queer community anyway.
Surprise, surprise!
For example, by wearing rainbow nail polish, or by dyeing their hair in rainbow colors, which I think is really great. It shows not just solidarity with their fellow queer players and the queer community worldwide, but also takes an immense amount of courage to stand up against an organization as large and rich and powerful as FIFA. The Turkish LGBTQ+ community celebrated Pride despite the Turkish government trying to ban Pride, taking a massive risk in order to support and show solidarity for the queer community. As part of that, over 150 people were detained by the Turkish police, showing just how big of a risk it is and was to stand up against the government in that way. I believe those people deserve a huge amount of recognition for the risks they took and the courage they showed. For the first time ever, Germany's Holocaust Memorial Day has officially commemorated the queer victims of the Holocaust as well. During the Holocaust, it wasn't just Jewish people who were persecuted, it was also disabled people and queer people, anything that the Nazi regime deemed unnatural and not aligned with their idea of society and family, which included queer people. Prisoners in concentration camps wore badges that signified why they were imprisoned, with homosexuality being signified with a pink triangle. Queer people faced discrimination and violence not just from the guards, but also from fellow inmates. And so I think it's important to remember the queer victims of the Holocaust as well. I'm a little saddened as a German myself that it took nearly 80 years for that to happen, but nonetheless, better late than never. The Miss Italy pageant introduced a rule this past year that allowed only women who were assigned female at birth to compete in their pageants, which rules out any trans women, right, explicitly.
Ew.
After that happened, as a really beautiful gesture of solidarity, many Italian trans men applied to compete compete in the Miss Italy pageant, saying they were assigned female at birth, and so surely it would be okay for them to compete, including trans influencers, people who have a large platform, and this made headlines internationally. So I hope that even though this hasn't changed the pageant's rules in any way yet, again, visibility is really important, and showing up for the queer community and the trans community, especially with everything that's been going on, is really important and really powerful as well. And rounding off our biggest wins in 2023, trans online creators Mercury, Stardust and Jory held their second annual live stream fundraiser for trans healthcare on Trans Visibility Day, and this year raised over $2.2 million US.
Everyone to see that this was possible. I want everyone to see that trans joy should be the priority. When you talk about trans people, talk about their happiness. Trans people are extremely talented at trying to persevere through a society often pushes you down. And all we hear is negative things about us in the press constantly. But we know who we are. Thank you. We're $1,000 away. Thank you. 2 million.
Again, is just something that shows how much we can do and how much change we can bring about as individuals if we just put our mind to it, and how much change somebody with a platform is able to bring. So thank you to Mercury, Stardust and to Jory for doing that, for using their platforms in that way, and for raising money for other trans people. Before I round off this video, I want to give out the Slay of the Week. And the Slay of the Week goes to you, my wonderful viewers. As cheesy as that might be, I am grateful for you. I am grateful that you watch my content. Making these videos has given me a new sense of purpose, and knowing that there are people who gain something from this content makes me really happy. So thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging with queer content and with queer rights and international development, everything concerning our community. Please enjoy this award. Take it with you into 2024 as your first win. Just know that you watching this is meaningful to me. I want to round off this video by sharing my own personal 2023 LGBTQ+ win, which was I was lucky enough to get to march in the London Pride Parade with Positive East, who are an East London-based AIDS charity. They work to both bring awareness to AIDS and educate people, as well as to help as many people as possible access HIV healthcare and HIV tests. So they're doing really important work. And yeah, I was privileged to march in the parade with them, which was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'll forever be grateful for that. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you're still watching, let me know, what was your favorite queer win of 2023? Big or small, public or something that happened to you privately? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to share your joy. I hope that this video could contribute to a more hopeful 2024 for you. It's so easy to focus on the negatives and to focus on all the things that aren't going in the right direction currently, but we can't forget celebrating the wins. It's so important to recognize all the positive change that is happening as well, and to imbue ourselves with hope and motivation to still keep going in the fight for equality. If you've watched until the very end of this video, thank you so much for still being here. This channel is still small, but I'm lucky to already have a small community of subscribers who comment on every video, who like my videos, who engage with them, and give me a real feeling of purpose in making these videos, and that has majorly contributed to bringing me joy in 2023. And I'm excited to keep going with these videos in 2024. I'm excited to grow and change and develop with you. So if you enjoyed this content, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Share it with friends who might enjoy this as well, and have the best start into your new year. See you next time. Bye.